Well, again, we talked about this a year ago a little bit in some ways, is videotape proof of your ability to play at a high level. You know, the two things that we get with the young men that we brought in here, especially on the offensive line, is number one, guys that have played. You know, I think Dave is a situation where David still played a lot of football, even though David didn't start there. David played a lot of reps. He got a lot of play there. You know, he was the 6th or 7th guy really from his redshirt freshman year on, and you know, even got some reps on defense. But played a lot of football for those guys. And then you talk about Khalil. Khalil started 10 games, and you know, really his situation was due to injury. You know, hurt his shoulder, and then you know, it sounded like never got a chance to regain his position back. So I think you get two things with guys like that. Number one, they're hungry. Number two, they're passionate about where they want to go. And number three, it helps us bridge the gap. You know, we don't have a bunch of juniors and seniors here right now that have been in the program, have been developing, and are ready to go. So we got to find ways to bridge the gap, because we do have some really good young guys. And obviously last year's class and then this year's class coming in, 5 high school offensive linemen coming in with them. You want to get some really positive guys to lead those guys and direct those guys, so you can let them mature and be ready to play when they're ready. So I think we did a good job helping ourselves out. I think what we really created was competition. You know, I really believe in some of the young guys in our program that are getting better, and I'm excited about that. And it doesn't mean these guys walk in here and start, but I think what it does is continue to create great competition. So by the time May and June and July get here, it's going to be a really interesting fall camp on that position group. The whole class was that a little bit, right? You know, I didn't want to wholesale junior college or 5th-year graduate transfers, but I did want to take some guys that maybe could bridge the gap for us in some areas that maybe aren't where they need to be in terms of positional, and really, you know, best way to say it would probably be academic areas. You know, we don't have a ton of juniors and seniors in some of those areas, and defensive line's another area. So I didn't want to wholesale and say, man, we're just going to take a bunch of junior college guys and not get some great high school guys that we can develop, because I think that's the key to our success, is developing the young men in our program. But, you know, you talk about, obviously, Matt Leo, and then you talk about Ray Lima, and, you know, you talk about Camilo. Those are guys that there's videotape proof. These guys are impressive. These guys have the ability to help our football team right away. And so, you know, obviously we still got to develop them. They're not surefire home run hits. They got to develop and continue to get better. But they help bridge the gap with some of the guys that are high school players coming into it. So I think it was really important for us to continue to rebuild those areas, the offense and defensive line, and do it with some guys that can bridge the gap, and then some guys that we can develop. And the great thing about it is that all these guys are competitors, so the best guys will play. And just like you saw last year, you know, obviously, you know, we had a true freshman play last year, and you know, with Jaquan, and he earned the right to do that. And we've got some talented guys like that in this freshman class, but you know, it's nice to get some guys that have some videotape evidence of college proof that they can play the game at this level. So I think we got a good mix. Well, I probably was sure. I'll be honest with you. I think maybe my response, are you sure about this? You know, and you know, again, the great thing about Devin for us is that relationship there. Coach Veit gets all the credit for it, because Coach Veit was our recruiting coordinator at Toledo. Literally answers random email that comes through probably, and if you know Coach Veit, he's about as anal as they get. So, you know, it responds to it. Hey, Coach, there's, you know, this young guy from Iowa coming through. He's going to come to our camp, and it was the first camp we had. So as a matter of fact, Jalen Martin was at that camp as a senior, to be senior, throwing with Devin. But I think the guy that highlighted that night was Devin, because everybody kept coming around, and man, this guy's really impressive, really impressive, really impressive. And we had a couple, because Zev was at that camp as well, at the Toledo camp throwing. So, you know, ironically, there's 3 guys that one night in Toledo, Ohio, who end up, you know, being here in Ames, Iowa. But Devin was the guy that was just like all the intangibles that came with it. And then I remember we come in that night right afterwards, and in our locker room there at Toledo, and I said, hey, we're going to offer you a scholarship. And meeting his mom and his dad and his sisters that night was really impressive. And I think we all left there, and Devin made such a huge impact on us that, ironically, I don't think any of us were really thinking about it, but Coach Veit, as soon as we touched base here, let's get a hold of Devin, let's see what's going on, and you know, to be able to say, hey, we're going to extend this offer to you, and then him say yes. that was pretty awesome. It has been really special, and it has since. And obviously, you guys